Welcome to Lesson 14, More Translation Exercises. My recommendation is to pause the video as we get to each sentence and try it on your own, before then resuming the video to watch as I walk you through the process. As always, I find it helpful to read the sentence to yourself first, either out loud or in your head. Agricola nocte cum familia in parva casa dormit. Slice the sentence up. Nocte is an adverb given to us in the notes, and it means at night, so we can go ahead and label it. Then let's find our verb. Latin likes to save the verb for the end of the sentence or the end of the idea. Here it has done just that. I see that it ends with the letter T, so I consult my chart. That means that it is third person singular, it's present and it's indicative, it's just a statement. It means he, she, or it sleeps. Let's see if we can find a he, she, or it in the sentence. Agricola. Agricola ends with an A, which means that it is nominative singular. That's our subject, the farmer. Now I see the preposition cum, and cum is always followed by the ablative. We should look and figure out if it's followed by an ablative singular or ablative plural. Familia is ablative singular, so we're going to label it cum plus ablative singular, with family, or with his family. We could understand the word his here, even though it's not in the Latin. Then I see the preposition in. In can be followed by the accusative or the ablative. I see that the words after it are parva casa. That's ablative singular. This is in plus the ablative singular. Casa is the noun, and parvus, parva parvum, is the adjective describing it. It means in a small or little house. Let's piece all of this together. Start with your nominative or your adverb, your choice. At night, the farmer sleeps in a small house with his family. You could have moved the at night around in the sentence and have accomplished the same effect. It is your choice as translator. Read the sentence. Mane agricola surgit et in agros ambulat. Slice the sentence up. Right away, I can label mane. It's another adverb. It means in the morning. Then I see et. Et jumps out to me. It's a conjunction. I don't know what is joining it. Let's keep labeling to see if we can figure it out. Well, I see a verb here with surgit, but I also see another verb at the end with ambulat. They both end with a T. That's third person singular. And I see surgit in the notes, and it means to wake up or to rise. So he, she, or it wakes up, and he, she, or it walks. Ooh, agricola. A, nominative singular. It looks like he, the farmer, is our subject. Again. I see in, agros. In can be followed by the accusative or the ablative, but I see that agros, os, I look at my chart, that's accusative plural. When in is followed by the accusative, it doesn't mean in or on. It means into or onto. And here, into the fields seems to make better sense than onto the fields. Now that I've labeled everything, I think I can figure out what the et is doing. It seems like the et is joining our two verbs together. So it looks like the agricola surgits and ambulats. Let's translate it. In the morning, the farmer wakes up and walks into the fields, in plus the accusative, motion toward. Read the sentence. Ibi cum filio suo et filia sua laborare parat. I can label ibi, it's an adverb. It means there, like over there in that place. I also see et, conjunction again. I don't know what it's joining. Probably the words on either side of it, but I don't know yet. Ooh, parat, that's my verb. It ends with a T. Third person singular. He, she, or it prepares. Ooh, but what about laborare? That kind of looks like a verb. But it doesn't end with ost musticent. It ends with re. This is an infinitive. The infinitive is a form of the verb that ends with re and means to verb. So laborare is to work. Now I see the preposition over there on the left, cum. Cum is always followed by the ablative. I see filio suo. I consult my chart. I see the long O in the dative and ablative singular. It can't be dative because cum cannot go with a dative. Cum can only go with an ablative, which means cum filio suo is ablative singular. But wait, filia sua, long A, that's also ablative singular. Wait a minute. The et is joining filio suo and filia sua. This whole thing here is actually cum plus the ablative, with his son and his daughter. Suus always refers back to the subject of the sentence, and the subject of our sentence is still the farmer. He doesn't make an appearance here except in third person singular of he prepares. There, he prepares to work with his son and his daughter. Read the sentence. Sed liberi laborare nolunt. Sed, I can label right away, it's a conjunction. It means but. Nolunt looks like a verb. It ends with an nt. It's third person plural. It's given to me in the notes. It means they don't want. Liberi is also given to me in the notes. It's nominative plural, and it means children or the children. I can verify that because I see the I on the end of it. And then I see laborare. It ends with an re, but it looks like a verb. That's because it's another infinitive. It means to verb, to work. But the children don't want to work. Liberi in silva ludunt et ranas in aqua spectant. I'm immediately labeling the conjunction et. I don't know what it's joining yet. We'll work on it. And then I see spectant and ludunt. They're both verbs. And they both end with nt. That means they're both third person plural. They play, given to me in the notes, and they look at, or they watch. I see liberi up at the start of the sentence. It ends with an I. That could be genitive, singular, or nominative, plural. Based on my verbs being plural and meaning they, based on the position of liberi in the sentence, I'm going to assume that it's actually nominative plural. The children, just like the last sentence. I see in silwa. Well, is that in accusative or in ablative? Long A, ablative singular. In ablative, in the forest. I see ranas, as. That's accusative plural. We must be verbing whatever ranas are. The frogs, or just frogs. And then in aqua, long A again, in ablative again, in the water. That means that the et must be joining my two verbs. Ludunt et spectant. Start with your nominative. The children play in the forest and look at frogs in the water. Vir clamat, liberi ubi nostri equi sunt. Now when I look at this sentence, I see that there's a comma and then quotation marks. So it looks like somebody is talking and we're reading what they are saying in the quotation marks. Right away, ubi is an adverb. It means where or when. I'm going to guess where here. Clamat is a verb. Sunt is a verb. It's a linking verb. Clamat ends with a T. That means it's third person singular. He, she, or it shouts. Clamo is given to us down below. Sunt ends with an NT. That's third person plural. And it means are, or they are. Back at the start, I see that wir ends with a letter R. There's only one possibility it could be. That's nominative singular. That's our subject. The man. So it looks to me like wir is going with clamat. But then inside the quotation marks, sunt must be going with a different subject. Now liberi is a form you don't know. It's called the vocative. The vocative is used when you're talking directly to somebody and you are calling, woko, you're calling them by name or title. Here we can translate it just as children, exclamation point. Now I see that nostri equi end with an I. That could be genitive, it could be nominative. I think it's nominative. Your verb, sunt, is third plural, it means they are. You probably need a they. I'm going to assume nostri equi are nominative plural. Equi is your noun, and nostri, is your adjective describing it, and so it means our horses. Let's put it together. The man shouts, comma, quote. This is what he's shouting. Children, where are our horses? Question mark. End quote. Sed puer et puella eam non audiunt quod in silva sunt. Label the things that jump out to you right away. Sed is a conjunction. It means but. Et is another conjunction. Non is an adverb. It means not. Quod is also a conjunction and it means because. You should expect after the word quod to find a new verb, maybe the same subject, maybe a new subject, but typically a new verb. Speaking of verbs, it looks like audiunt is a verb. I'm going to assume that the adverb not is describing our verb audiunt. Audiunt ends with an NT. It's third plural. It means they hear or listen. I like hear. So when you put non with audiunt, you get they don't hear. Who is the they? Well, puer and puella look to me like they're both nominative singular. The boy and the girl. When you have a nominative singular and nominative singular, that adds up to be plural. So I think the et is joining puer and puella, the boy and the girl. They do not hear. Eum. Eum is accusative singular, as our note tells us, but we can also double check. That's accusative singular, and it means him. Okay, let's deal with that stuff over there on the right after quote. Sunt is a linking verb. It ends with nt. It's third plural again. They are. And then in is a preposition. Is this inaccusative or inablative? Silwa, inablative, in the forest. So it looks like after quote we got a new verb, but not a new subject. That means that the puer and puella are still the subject. Let's translate it. Start with said. But the boy and the girl do not hear him. Why don't they hear him? Because they are in the forest. Sic agricola ipse in agros estabulo equos movet. Label what you know. Seek is an adverb. So, thus, yes. I like so or thus here. Moet is the verb, all the way at the end of the sentence. It ends with a T. Third person singular. He, she, or it moves. Let's see if we have a he, she, or it. Agricola, nominative singular. The farmer. Ipse is also nominative singular, as our note down below tells us. It means himself. So ipse must be describing Agricola, the farmer himself. In agros. Is this inaccusative or inablative? The OS tells us. That's inaccusative. It's not just in the fields, it's into the fields, motion toward. Estabilo. X has to be followed by the ablative. So when I look at my chart and I see the O in the dative and ablative, I can immediately rule out the dative. The preposition E or X can only be followed by the ablative. So this is X plus ablative singular. The definition is given to us down below. It means out of the stable. And then equos. OS. That's accusative plural. That must be our direct object. That must be what we're verbing. The horses. Let's build it. So the farmer himself moves the horses into the fields out of the stable. Once again, these sentences make a little story. Let's put all of them together. At night the farmer sleeps in a small house with his family. In the morning the farmer wakes up and walks into the fields. There he prepares to work with his son and his daughter. But the children don't want to work. The children play in the forest and look at frogs in the water. The man shouts, "Children, where are our horses?" But the boy and girl do not hear him because they are in the forest. So the farmer himself moves the horses into the fields out of the stable.